So we got the volcanoes where they kind of open up, diverging, like Iceland. We've got volcanoes that explode, like the Ring of Fire, converging. And then there is a third type. The third type is called a hot spot. And in a hot spot, we have one place where the magma goes up. It's called a plume like a fountain. And the plate, the lithosphere up above, slides over the top. So wherever the plate is, that's the volcano. And you see that the old volcanoes go off to the side. They move away over time. Here you can see in Hawaii, there's 3 volcanoes that are growing right now. Kilauea is almost always having magma and lava come out. It's been open and erupting slowly since 1983. Almost 40 years that lava has been pouring out of this volcano. And this new one is underwater. It's called Loihi, which means the long one. And it's going to come up out of the ocean in somewhere between 15 to 20,000 years. So we'll never see it above the ocean, but you can go underwater and see it. And it's erupting underwater. So 3 little volcanoes, but that's what's happening right now. If we go back 1 million years, none of this was here. It was off to the right. And Maui, very beautiful, famous Hawaiian island, Maui was sitting on top of the hotspot. Maui was an active volcano, and this did not exist. If we go back 2 million years, Maui was gone. And instead, Molokai was sitting right here. So when an island gets old, it gets pushed off to the side and is not a volcano anymore. Here you can see all the islands that used to be right here where the hotspot is. And they've all gone away, even back to when the dinosaurs were alive. And most of these are underwater because as they get old and cold, they contract and they go below the water and they get weathered by the waves. And then when they get up here, this is the trench where it's converging, they get pushed back into the asthenosphere and melted. So we can see what the Earth used to look like when it was sitting on this hot spot. Here you can kind of see things animated. You see that the plate moves to the left and a new island forms and a new volcano. And that's because it's sitting on the hot spot. So it tells us which way the plate was moving. Right? These plates move a few centimeters a year. So how do we know where they move 100 million years ago? Well, this is a map that tells us. It's like somebody wrote on a piece of paper that we could read where the islands used to be. And we see right about here, the plate made a big turn. It starts going a different direction. So the plate has changed its direction and we can see that. Once again, we call this a hot spot because the hot spot does not move, right? The plate boundaries can shift and adjust, but the hot spot has been there forever and ever underneath the Pacific plate. There's also a famous hot spot in Africa, and there's another really famous one right in the middle of the United States by Wyoming. It's a whole different kind of volcano. We call it a super volcano, extra big. And here you can see underneath Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming by Idaho and Montana, we see this giant plume of magma that is very close under the surface. And we know that it has blown up before, not in our lifetime, about 1 million years ago. And when it blows up, it is huge. Basically, that whole park is a giant volcano. So you can see people around here, when that blows up, they're not going to survive. We don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime. And then there will be ash spread all the way around these states. Luckily, not many people live there. And even Indiana is going to get ash that falls out of the sky from this volcano that's 1,000 miles away. Here was Mount St. Helens, the big one that blew up in Washington. And this is how big Yellowstone is. Way bigger, way more ash. And these are some of the ash falls from the last time that it blew up. You can see Mount St. Helens went across about 3 states. Yellowstone is blown up here and here. Have a wonderful 4-day weekend. 4 days. We don't have class until next Wednesday. Next Wednesday will be our next red day. And we'll see you then. Bye-bye.